Welcome back to another deck profile video. After a bit of a hiatus, we are now back. So hopefully the videos will come flooding in thick and fast, but with a newborn that can be quite difficult to do. But we'll dive straight into this one whilst the little one is sound asleep. So to start with, in terms of the eggs, so I'm running a one-off of Rapidmon from EX6. Its all turns effect is when this Digimon is suspended, it gains an additional 1000 DP. Now, you can mix and match your ratios as you see fit. Some players are running 4 of this. In my case, I'm only running 1. But we are running 5 eggs. And the other 4 that we're running are the Gummymons from the Structure Deck 17. With this particular egg, it's when attacking once per turn. If you have a green Tamer, you draw 1 card. It's just a very good generic green egg overall. But I find that the draw power goes much more accordingly with my deck build. However, you can mix and match at your own accord. If you haven't guessed already as well, just by looking at the eggs, this deck build is for the new Rapidmon, which is stupid good at the moment. But let's dive into our rookies. So we're running quite a few. So the first one we're running is the Structure Deck 17 Tamers. Has a play cost of 3. You can digivolve over the Gummymon for no cost, so you can digivolve at any color Gummymon. It has a main effect once per turn where you can play 1 green Tamer card or 1 level 3 Digimon card with Lockmon in its name from your hand with the play cost reduced by 2. It's also got an inherited effect of all turns. Whilst this Digimon is suspended, it gains an additional 1000 DP. This card is just very good generally, especially for a turn 2 to get your Tamers out for little cost. It also goes very well in the Alliance decks, to get that Lockmon out. But yes, we are running a 4 of generally in this deck. Now, moving on to the next set of Tamers. We're going all the way back to EX4 with this Tamers. Now this one has an on play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. You add 1 2-color green card and then 1 Tamer card with Henry Wong in its name. You add those cards to your hand and you bottom deck the rest. Its inherited effect is a your turn effect, but when Alliance suspends one of your Digimon, this Digimon may digivolve into a 2-color green Digimon card in your hand with the Digivolution cost reduced by 2. This is just one of the more formidable searches for this deck. There are plenty of different Tamers searches that you can apply. However, I believe this is the best card to work with in terms of searching. Next up, we go all the way back to BT3, but we're running 2 of the Tamers from that set. It's all turns effect. Your opponent can't gain memory except with Tamer effects. It's just your memory boost blocker in not so many words, or with most decks gaining memory from deletion effects or other various effects. This will naturally block that. So it's just a good 2-off to have. Next up, we have the new BT16 Rapidmon X-Antibody. So this card's just very good, mainly for its your turn effect. But your turn, when this Digimon would digivolve into a card with either Gargomon or Rapidmon in its name, you would reduce that Digivolution cost by 1. Additionally, at the same time, it also has an inherited effect, your turn as well. Whilst this Digimon has Gargomon or Rapidmon in its name, you gain Piercing, which was essentially missing from this deck when the Structure Deck stuff came out. So yeah, Bandai have obviously cleared their heads a bit, and this is the best card that could be added to this deck currently. But yeah, a solid 4-off to have, and it digivolves for 0 over any of my other Tamers. But that's it for my rookies. Now we dive into our champions. Now, first 2 I'm running is Gargomon from Structure Deck 17. So with regards to this one, it has a your turn effect once per turn, but when this Digimon becomes suspended, you can give one of your Digimon jamming for the turn. It's also got an inherited effect all turns. When this Digimon would be suspended, it gets an additional 1000 DP. It's a good 2-off just to have anyway. Swinging with Jamming's never a bad thing. It's a good early game card, but we don't run much of, any of the Alliance stuff in this deck. So again, this card could go very well with any Alliance-based deck. But for me, just a solid 2-off to have. And then we run 2 more play sets worth of champions in this deck. To start with, we got the Rapidmon as well from the Structure 17 set. It has Blocker, it has Armor Purge, you can digivolve over a Terriermon for a cost of 3, or alternatively you could digivolve over any green or yellow Digimon for a cost of 4. It has an all turns effect, but once per turn, when this Digimon becomes suspended, one of your opponent's Digimon and all of their security Digimon gets minus 4000 DP until the end of their turn. Additionally, its inherited effect is an all turns effect. Whilst this Digimon is suspended, it gets an additional 1000 DP. So again, it's just a very good card. This is probably one of the better cards in this deck. However, we're going to get to some of the really good stuff shortly, but this is a very good card just overall, and it certainly has its uses during any gameplay. Lastly, we run a 4 of the BT8 Rapidmon. Now, if you're not familiar with this one, again, it can digivolve over level 3 yellow or green Digimon for a cost of 4. Alternatively, you can digivolve over a Terriermon for a free cost. It has Armor Purge. It also has a when digivolving effect, but for each of your Tamers, you get to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, and then up to 3 of your opponent's Digimon, as long as they're suspended, will get minus 5000 DP for the turn. So it is a potential good card in terms of board clearing. It's a very good defensive card in comparison to the previous Rapidmon, which is more aggressive, especially being able to reduce your opponent's security DP to avoid any deletion or anything like that. But yeah, it's a good 4-off to have, and that essentially clears up the champions you would need for this deck. Next up, we have our ultimates. Now we're only running 4. In this case, we're running Rapidmon. In regards to this particular card, it has both an on-play and when digivolve effect, but you de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. And then if you have a green Tamer in play, until the end of your opponent's turn, this Digimon is unaffected by deletion effects or return to the hand or deck. It also has an all turns inherited effect where once per turn, when this Digimon would delete an opponent's Digimon in battle, you can trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So this goes in very well with the Terriermon, which obviously gives it piercing. So you'd kill the Digimon on board, trash one, pierce one. So it just goes much more aggressive nowadays. But they're the only ultimates that we're running. Next up, we have our mega levels. So we are running only 2 play sets worth, but we run the stupidly strong Mega Gargomon Ace from the Structure Deck 17. If you're not familiar with this card, I suggest you do. It's just stupidly strong, but it's a counter card, so you can blast Digivolve during your opponent's swing, or it comes with Blocker, Reboot. It has 2 when Digivolving effects. The first one, you suspend 2 of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. Then 2 of their Digimon or Tamers can't unsuspend or Digivolve until the end of their turn. And then the second when Digivolving effect, which is also an end of attack effect, is once per turn, but you may unsuspend this Digimon. It's just a stupidly good defensive card, and the fact that it can digivolve over any level 5 green or black Digimon for a cost of 4, or alternatively digivolve over a Rapidmon for a cost of 5. So it means you can digivolve over the next mega level Digimon I'm about to show you, which feels kind of dirty, and it's just a stupidly good defensive card overall, being able to stun things in play, stop swings, stop digivolving, prevent suitable effects from clearing your side of the board. It's just a very, very good card. So it's just a mandatory 4-off in my opinion, but feel free to reduce them if you have ideas for your own deck. Now, next one is the new BT16 Rapidmon X-Antibody. This card is bloody stupid, but it has Armor Purge. It can digivolve over any level 5 yellow or green Digimon for a cost of 3, or alternatively any Rapidmon for a cost of 4. Now, it's when digivolving effect, you suspend all of your opponent's Digimon, then this Digimon may attack. So again, it goes very well with the combination of piercing. Now, it also has an all-turns effect, but when it has Rapidmon X-Antibody in its Digivolution sources, all of your opponent's suspended Digimon get minus 4000 EP. It also has a second all-turns effect, once per turn, but when an opponent's Digimon is deleted in battle, or removed by having 0 DP, you gain 2 memory. So it's just a stupidly good card. It is very strong, and quite frankly, that's why it's justified as being a secret rare. But yeah, trying to get 4 of these was an absolute nightmare. But we're here now, and the deck itself works very, very well for this card. Again, you can opt to have 2 or 3, but I'm running 4 just because I see it more so than anything, and being able to spawn out more than 1 in play, and sometimes in the same turn, can do really silly stuff. Next up, we got our Tamers. So we're going all the way back to BT1. We're playing 2 of the Mimi. Now, start of turn, it's a memory setter, so you always start with 3 memory. Its main effect, if you have a level 5 green Digimon in play, you can suspend her to hatch a new Digi-Egg or move a Digimon that's currently in your breeding area out into play. So she's a good game ender in some cases. Or alternatively, if you just want to get the Rapidmons out from your breeding area just so you can attempt to counter on the next opponent's turn, that's great. But yeah, solid 2 off to have. Alternatively, you could run any form of the Henrys, Henry Wongs, but for me, I think Mimi is still the best choice for this deck. The next Tamers we're running is Willis from BT8. Has an on-play effect, but you may hatch a egg in your breeding area. And then it also has a your turn effect, but when one of your Digimon would digivolve into a Digimon card with Gargomon or Rapidmon in its name, you can suspend this Tamer to reduce that cost by 1. So again, it goes down well when you're digivolving into your level 4s and most certainly your level 6s, just to reduce any form of the fees. So yeah, we're only running 5 Tamers, but logically they're the Tamers that you need. Alternatively, you could opt to use any form of the Henry Wongs, whether it be the BT8 or most recently the structure deck version. Moving on to our option cards, lastly, we're running 2 double Typhoons. You can run 4. It really is up to you, but I'm running 2. I don't really have any real reason as to why. It's just, I think it's a very good card, but I like seeing 2. I don't like seeing it all the time. Its delay effect is very good anyway, but let's get into it. So main effect, you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You add 1 green Digimon and 1 green Tamer, and then you bottom deck the rest. Then you place this card in your play area. Now it then has a main delay effect, where you can play out a Terriermon or a Lotmon from your hand without paying the cost. The security effect is again a good defensive card. So you suspend 2 of your opponent's Digimon, then you place this card in the battle area. So yeah, it's a good searching card. It's also good for just spawning those level 3s out when you need them. But yeah, you can opt to run 4 if you truly wanted to. However, in my personal opinion, I'm only running 2. And that's just because I've made room for other cards in this deck. Next up, we've got Giant Missile from Structure Deck 17. It's quite a high cost. It's a cost of 8 to play, but main effect, you suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, then you return one of their suspended Digimon to the bottom of the deck. Then, one of their Digimon can't unsuspend until the end of their turn. And the security effect is you just activate the main effect. I think it's just a good defensive card to have. And it definitely works wonders, especially against wider boards. But yeah, I just find having the 1 there just in case. It does come up from time to time, and it's just a very good defensive card generally. Next up, we have the promo cards. We have the Agility Training. So main effect, you reveal the top 2 cards and you can add any green card among them to your hand, and then you bottom deck the other. The main effect for this one is, again, a delay effect, but you can reduce the next Digivolution card, the Digivolve that you do, by 2, as long as it's a green Digimon, of course. Security effect, you just place this in the battle area. But it's a good 2-of to have. If you haven't got the training cards, you can still use the memory boosts, which are obviously a lot cheaper. Either one works fine, but for me, I like the training cards more than the actual memory boosts themselves, so I'm running a 3-of of that. Next up, we're running 1 Hidden Potential Discovered from BT3. I still think this is just a mandatory green card for every green deck. Being able to suspend one of your Digimon to then digivolve with the cost reduced by 5 is just silly. This got restricted quite early in this game for good reason. So, but yeah, just a 1-of of that. It costs you absolutely no memory to play. And then lastly, we're running 2 of the Sparkle of Fate from BT16, which in short is effectively the Magdamon's version of Awakening of the Golden Knight. You play it for free, then you get to digivolve one of your Gargomon or Rapidmon in its main into another Rapidmon in its name, basically. So this is what you'll be using, ideally, to digivolve into the Rapidmon X-Antibody to reduce the cost. At the same time, like I said, it's very, very similar to the Awakening of Golden Knight, but if you have Digivolve using this card, it remains unaffected by DP reduction effects. It also has a security effect, but you may play 1 level 3 Digimon card with Terriermon in its name from your hand or your trash without the cost being played, and then you get to add this card to your hand. So you can set yourself up for the next turn to get that Rapidmon X out through its security effect, or alternatively you'll just pay the free cost generally to then digivolve into your Rapidmon X. So yeah, this has come up and it is being used. A lot of the decks I'm seeing don't use it, and I can understand why, because you'll opt for things like Double Typhoon or training boosts, etc. But yeah, it's just a very good 2-of in my personal opinion. Now, normally in these videos, I'll just, off the top of my head, just recommend some alternative cards. In terms of the eggs, you can opt to use any green egg, really. It's really up to you. You can use any from Gokomon or Gummymon, etc. In terms of the level 3s, again, you can opt to play Lotmons if you truly wanted to. Any form would be fine. However, I think for a Rapidmon build, it's ideally you're going to be playing Terriermons as your baseline. Level 4s, don't really need to play any other form of level 4. The Rapidmons and Gargomons are absolutely fine. Level 5s, you can opt to throw in Chimeramon if you truly wanted to, just to DNA any of your level 4s if you're struggling to get to your higher levels. But otherwise, you don't have to prioritize using level 5s in this deck. Level 6s, realistically, you're not really going to play anything that's not Mega Gargo or Rapidmon X. If you are, I would imagine people are going to play things like Falcaramon Ace for the blast effects, being able to delete whiteboards and things like that. Alternatively, you could reduce the amount of ratios that you have for your level 6s in order to play more Tamers or more Rookies or more options. Tamer cards rather. Naturally, any form of the Henry Wongs will work out just fine. You can opt to use the BT8 version, which is a memory setter, and when you swing, you can suspend him to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Or alternatively, you can use the new Warp Henry Wong from the Structures Deck 17 set, where you gain a memory at the start of your turn if your opponent has a Digimon. And you can also, digivolve into a Mega Gargomon for a cost of 4, as long as you have the right cards in your trash to do that warp. Option cards, I really wouldn't change too much, if I'm honest. Any good defensive green card works fine. Alternatively, you could throw black color cards in here like I did in my previous build. You know, throwing things in like Trident Arm can be quite funny, or Ultimate Flare, things like that. It just catches people off guard most of the time, especially if you're in a mirror match. But that's pretty much it just off the top of my head. But that's it. That's all 50 cards for this deck. This is what I'm using at the moment. It's seen, you know, a variety of success depending on what it goes up against. But overall, the deck is really fun to play. It is stupidly strong. You can understand why it's higher up the tables than most others. But yeah, 50 card deck, this is it. Feel free to use it, amend it, add your own variety of cards to the mix. But as always, thank you all so much for watching the videos and being patient. I know there's been a bit of a delay, but I'm hoping to be posting more videos now, knowing that things are starting to settle out at home. But yeah, feel free to leave a comment. Let me know what you think of the build, what you would throw into the mix. I'd be more than eager to read your comments and just see what's going on. But otherwise, if you haven't liked the channel, by all means, click that little subscribe button. And as always, hit the little thumbs up button on the video just to show your support. But thank you again, and take care.